Good morning. Welcome to the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living. I'm so glad you're here with me today and that you're able to join me in this first day in May. Oh my gosh, can you believe it's already here and the weather is warming up? It's a beautiful day. My name is Reverend Martha Quintana, and I am the senior minister. I'm so happy to be here. I'm the senior minister here, and I am so glad that we are here together. While this whole time at home has been happening, we've also been doing a lot of work down at the center. As you know, we finished the paint and the carpet, and we've begun the electrical, and I want to give a huge shout out to our board president, Brett Beatty. Oh my gosh, he's been working so hard. And so have our friends Bob Duvall and Mason Cressley. They are planning the most beautiful lighting, and it's just been great. We are in such a good place at the Rio Grande Center, and it is a spiritual community of people. We are a spiritual community that can only be comprised of people. That means every one of you who are here today with me. I am so happy that you're here. What having a spiritual community means is that no matter what kind of day you've had, no matter what kind of week you have, the moment you walk through our doors, each of us remember who you are. Each of us remember that and know the highest and best of you. It is in that our spiritual community is maintained. It is in that we see the highest and best reflection of each other in each other. And so today's talk is called You've Got a Friend, and we are certainly each other's friend, and we are our own friend today, and I'll talk to you more about that later. In the meantime, I want to give a big shout to the technical team. Our technical team are comprised of Annette Martinez and Tammy Lambert, who are over in the Northwest. And then across the river from me is Kamatara Johnson. She'll be helping to host Zoom, our social hall, a little bit later. And so during my talk, if you would like to come and join us for coffee, and I hate using scare quotes, but bring your own coffee in our Zoom chat room, please join us and email our friend Annette Martinez. She's our technical director, and she will get you the Zoom link. To get her, it's Rio Grande CSL@gmail.com. It's Rio Grande CSL@gmail.com. Also today, we have several people who are helping us in High Watch. High Watch are Julia Washington and Kathy Mathiasen. We also have so many other practitioners who are joining us in the High Watch. And if during the week you need just a little boost, go ahead and call one of our people. We have Compassion Ministries, and they're not just for when you're in the hospital. It's if you need that little boost, if you need that little something. You can see that number at the bottom of my screen, 485-3301. Or if you would like to contact a practitioner, please call our line, and Marilyn O'Leary can get you in touch. That's 238-6213. So Compassion Ministries is 485-3301, and to contact a practitioner is 238-6213. Don't be shy. We are in this together. All right. So it is time for invocation. And so I know in this moment that all there is love. The love of the universe as each one of us. For there is a spirit that animates each body on the planet. There is a spirit that animates each of us. And I call this spirit right here, right now. I call it. And know that as I call it, that each spirit answers in the name of love. For it is love to love that we speak today. It is love to love that we know today, each of us, the love of the entire universe in one body. And so no matter the appearance, I affirm that this love is bringing the highest and best, that it is the light on our path, that it is peace and joy, happiness and grace, and all of it happens today. For as I proclaim this love, I accept it for myself, and on behalf of everyone else, I accept it for you too. For we are each that great love, and it is in that love, that harmony with love, that our lives unfold perfectly. So knowing that all is well and that this life is good, I call that good. And I invite you to say with me, and so it is. Thank you. I'm so grateful you're here. So it is in that it is time for our spiritual reading. And one of the things that I've been thinking about, and I'll tell you about this in just a minute, but I've been thinking about this idea of you've got a friend and what that all means. And so I went to the front of Science of Mind. In the preface to the Science of Mind, in the very beginning, there's an introduction, and that's very famous. Peace be unto thee, stranger. But what isn't quite read quite as often is this idea of who the book is dedicated to. Now, I'm going to read the dedication exactly the way that it's written. And so, in Ernest Holmes' time, he's writing this book in the 1920s, and in that time, everyone is referred to as man. All humans are referred to as man. So let's take it in historical context, this idea of man. But this is the dedication in Science of Mind. He says, these lessons are dedicated to the truth, capital T truth, which frees man from himself, or every person from him or herself, and sets him on the pathway of a new experience, which enables him to see through the mist to the eternal, capital E, and changeless reality. So I'm going to read this one more time. These lessons are dedicated to that truth which frees man from himself and sets him on the pathway of a new experience, which enables him to see through the mist to the eternal, changeless reality. These lessons are dedicated to the truth of who we are. And then he goes on to that very famous poem, but is very pertinent to our talk today. He says, peace be unto thee, stranger. And essentially, this poem is a poem written to the self. It's inviting each of us to treat ourselves as we would a beloved guest, a beloved friend. Invite ourselves home. He says, peace be unto thee, stranger. Peace be unto thee, stranger. Enter and be not afraid. I have left the gate open, and thou art welcome to my home. There is room in my house for all. I have swept the hearth and lighted the fire. The room is warm and cheerful, and you will find comfort and rest within. The table is laid, and the fruits of life are spread before thee. The wine is here also. It sparkles in the light. I have set a chair for you where the sunbeams dance through the shade. Sit and rest and refresh your soul. Eat of the fruit and drink the wine. All is yours, and you are welcome. All is yours, and you are welcome. That brings me to today's talk. The talk today is You've Got a Friend. What happened is earlier this week, I was asked a question. The question was, Reverend Martha, in looking back at your life, what part of your life could you not have done if God had not been with you, if the divine had not been with you? And I sat and I became flooded, overwhelmed with all of the things that I do, that I can do, that I've done, and came to the realization that it's the spirit within that has always done this for me. And I recognize that it's that spirit within that is the same source, that's the source of my body and the same source of every body. It becomes that relationship with the spirit within that becomes the basis for my life. I am spirit divine. clothed in this physical body. And because I'm clothed in my own physicality, there is an appearance that I'm by myself, that I'm this individual. And truly, we know from our past readings that we are an individualized expression of the divine. But I took it that one step further. There is nothing that I can do without the spirit that animates my body. As Holmes likes to say, without it, we are just decomposing corpse on the floor. I am that which you are, made from the same source. But here's the individualization. I get to use it in the way that I get to use it. And so in dedicating these lessons to the truth, by allowing ourselves to know the truth, we come back to this place of hope. I come back to this message of hope, for that is what this is inside of us, is a power waiting to be used, waiting to be born. And the only thing that imprisons it is our use of it, our ideas of it. So going back to this question, how do I use it? Do I use the spirit as master? Do I use the spirit as slave? Do I use it as a partner? And of course, we all know that the right answer is, well, yes, we use it as a partner. But truthfully, there have been times where this spirit was the master, and it goes something like this. And I've done this somewhat, and I know people who've done this. They'll say things like, you know, I am waiting because I know the divine is going to deliver me. There is something that I'm going to do, and I am just waiting. And the person waits and waits and waits, and nothing happens. Because there are, and jumping to the partner part, because there, as an intuition, those inklings, those things that we notice about ourselves. So spirit can be solely the master. We also have this idea where spirit is slave. So if I use it as slave, and I know I've certainly done this, you better get this right, Martha, you better get this right. You better get out there and do it. You know, you got to get this done today. You're obliged to get this done. Get out there and do it. Oh, or things like, you know, I know I'm on a diet. In the past, I know I'm on a diet, and gosh darn it, Martha, you better not eat that. You better not. And so when I make spirit my slave, and spirit is born of love, and I can tell you that the heart wants what it wants, and love wants what it wants. So this idea that my ego can keep it in check, that I can say, okay, spirit, run faster, jump higher, I know you can do this, really doesn't serve me, nor does it serve the world, because my idea here is that I have come here to experience certain things, that I have come to lend my strengths and my talents to the world in only the way that I can do that. I am an individualized expression of the world, and I'm bringing myself back in harmony. I am bringing myself back into the harmony with myself, and that's where I become a partner. If you recall, in the surrender experiment, Michael Singer would do a lot of meditation, but then he would notice things about himself. He would notice things like he liked working on computers. Back when the Tandies were like the thing at Radio Shack, he went out and he bought himself a Tandy, and man, he loved writing programs. And he began writing programs that made a lot of money for him. So even though he waited for spirit to nudge him on his way, he began to see that this same spirit was also showing him the way, and he began to use that. And that is what we are doing today, to become one in harmony. Those things that don't come to us are those things that we are not in harmony with. And a lot of bad talk with the self, like, in that slave portion, gosh, Martha, you better do it this way. You better not do that. Or my God, I could have done it better. It doesn't help either. When I recognize that there is a source inside of me that is also guiding me, that is attracting to me all of the people, places, and things that I require to have this experience of my life, then I begin to know without a shadow of a doubt who I am. And then I have a friend. And then I have a friend. How many times have my friends surrounded me when I did not feel well? But I couldn't see it because I couldn't feel it. Just because I can't feel it does not mean that love is not there, that people are not there. I am made of the same source as everyone else, and to be made in the image and likeness of the divine means that I am able to do that which I have set out to do. I am free. I am free to live, free to live. And it's this disharmony. So there's a question on the table, what is my relationship to spirit? And that is the unconditional love of my life. Yes. The unconditional love of my life is this spirit. And when I can be in harmony with the unconditional love of my life, that's when I become free. So to have a friend means that I am free to enjoy the absolute goodness of the world, that I am free to be. In our reading this week, and it comes from one of Ernest Holmes' earliest writings. It's up to you. This is your life. He says that we are our own worst enemy, and that if we are our own worst enemy, in this thing called life, that we are not able to move forward. And in being the enemy, these are the voices that go on inside. Come on, Martha, do it better. Come on, get out there. You know you can do it better. Why did you do it like that? Oh my God, why did you say that? I don't know if any of you can relate to this, but these are the times when I am my worst enemy, because no one can speak to me like that. No one, unless I allow it. And I can tell you that if any other human being spoke to me like that, them's fighting words, right? But I began to look at, how is it that I can be a better friend to myself? And that's that spirit within, the one that gets beat up all the time, the one that says, my God, you really ought to be doing it better. My goodness, you really ought to do it better. And he says that there is something around us that sometimes we have to become that harmonious element. He gives the example of a family who had a baby. And so the baby had a bad stomach, was always throwing up. And their family doctor prescribed that they should feed the baby ground raw liver, a little bit of ground raw liver every day. And so they did. And the baby got better. And then one day, it turns out the baby got sick again. So they're looking around, and what had happened was that day, Grandma had come along, and she was taking care of the baby. And she was completely repulsed at the idea of feeding the baby ground raw liver. But being a good grandma and a good soldier, she thought, well, okay, I don't really like it. I'm really kind of repulsed by it, but I'll feed the baby ground raw liver. And so she did. She fed it. But the baby, in reaction to it, began to throw up again. And then the following day, when it was Mom back to the helm, the baby came back in harmony again. That's what happens to us. That is what happens to us when we are in disharmony with our environment. Because if we're in enough disharmony, Not only are we creating an environment for ourselves in which our digestion might be off, maybe a headache comes along. Those are things that are evidence of a disharmony. What is it? What are the ideas that we're trying to get through? Maybe I feel guilty about something that happened. I feel ashamed about it. Those are evidence of disharmony. What is it that I need to do to get back in balance with myself? Because here's the clue. The feelings themselves aren't bad things. The feelings themselves aren't bad things. It's evidence of the body wanting to get back in balance with itself. It's evidence of the body wanting to get back in balance with itself. So if I feel guilty about something, is it truly something I did that I need to make amends for, maybe? Is it something that I did that I need to make amends with myself for? If I feel a reluctance, an anxiety, a fear, what is it that I'm being called? What is it that I'm being called back to? Is my spirit the master? Is my spirit the slave? Am I in partnership with my spirit? And truly, to be in partnership with this spirit allows me to know that my body feels good in and of itself. My head, my mind, my words. And it's not to say we aren't going to make mistakes. We do all the time. For God's sakes, we're human, having this human experience. But the body is calling us home. The spirit is calling us back to freedom. That's what's going on here. And so Ernest Holmes says to us, he says, the Old Testament states that a person's enemies shall be those of his own household. And this does not mean his wife or children or husband or grandmother or mother-in-law. It means the self. The Bible also says that he who controls the members of his own household is greater than he who takes a city. Here's the symbol of a city that means something outside of us, but the members of our own household are our thoughts and feelings. And he says to us this, you and I are our worst enemies. Take it or leave it, like it or not, it is the simple truth. But this should come to us as tidings of great joy. It should come as glad news, because if we are our worst enemies, why couldn't we become our best friends? And how we all need a friend. In a certain sense, the first and best friend you will ever have is with yourself. Hi. How many of us are just delighted to see ourselves? How many of us look at ourselves as our best friend? I know I need work in that all the time, but I'm a better friend to myself now than I've ever been. I'm becoming a better friend to people around me than I've ever been. It's the recognition of spirit within ourselves. And Holmes ends this article by saying these words, we should begin to practice the presence of God within us in a very normal, natural, and spontaneous manner, and with utmost simplicity. For everyone who has ever talked to the God within has had a direct answer. Everyone who has ever talked to the God within has had a direct answer. Let us see if we cannot learn to renounce our fears and our doubts, all this inward shaking and quaking and apprehension, and let God give us back to ourselves as we really are. Let God give us back to ourselves as we really are. And what that means is that the spirit within will deliver us back to ourselves as we really are. I'm really happy that you're here with me today, and let's practice this week. Let's practice being our own best friend, inviting our spirit to be a partner, that when there is doubt, that we calm it, and know that we are being called back to the balance, that we are being called back to freedom and to grace. That is where we're being called. Thank you so much. Namaste. So it is our prayer time, and I would invite all of the practitioners who are here to surround this community all over the city and the state. We have people coming to us from Truth or Consequences. We have people in Santa Fe and Taos, Espanola. Thank you for being here. And all of our people in Albuquerque and around the country, thank you for being here. And right now, our practitioners are standing in a circle all around our sanctuary of the world right now. And I know that they are here with me as I begin this prayer, and know that there is only one love, the love that is always here, that ubiquitous love, the one that is found everywhere, in everyone, in everything. For wherever I look, wherever my eyes turn, there is the one love. Wherever I am, there is that one love. And so I call it with such a ferocity and such a passion that it arrives and says, yes, my darling, what is it? And I say, love, I am here. I am here with my friends, all of the people of the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living. I arrive with all of us in grace and joy and peace and happiness and gladness and beauty and in truth, for all of us are here. And I affirm and declare in this moment that everyone who has been afflicted by this coronavirus, by this COVID-19, are held in the protected arms of God. I affirm and declare that our beloveds, Monica and Jessica, who are on the front lines, along with all of the other frontline people, that they are held in the arms of love, and they are known to this by love. For wherever love encircles, nothing can penetrate. And I surround every single person who can hear my voice, whether now or later, to be surrounded in love, for nothing can penetrate. There is only life, there is only good. And I affirm and declare that that spirit within now goes out before each of us, making clear and smooth our ways, for we are each held the beloved of the beloved. And I am so grateful today. I am so grateful for freedom, for that freedom to know the unconditional love of my life, for that freedom to know who I am, for that freedom to discover the truth, for being here in Science of Mind, where these lessons are dedicated to the truth, where all of us are held in the arms of God. I am so grateful for every single person who has come into my life, who has touched me. For although we are made of the same source, the experience we have of each other makes us grow even more in the truth, in this grace, in this love, in this light, grow even more. I'm so grateful. And so it is with great gratitude that I release my word, knowing it cannot come back to me void, knowing that as I've spoken, it is done. And so it is, and so it continues to be. Amen. Thank you. Oh, I'm so grateful that you're here. So listen, this is the business portion of our life together. And I invite you to donate to the Rio Grande Center for Spiritual Living. This past month, it wasn't the best month in terms of our donations. And so much of it has to do, of course, with where we're at in our world. But if you can see clear to donate, thank you. For those people who have continued sending your donations, thank you. For those people who are donating today, thank you. You can do it in so many easy ways. You can text GIVE to 207-3010, or you can go to our website, rgcsl.org, and hit the donate button. That's a PayPal button. And we are so glad. Thank you for that. The Rio Grande Center operates solely on its members' contributions. And for that reason, I'm so grateful when all of us show up and donate to our spiritual community, for it is a beautiful community filled with absolutely great and wonderful people. Thank you for being here. If you're new today, thank you for being here. If you're a tried and seasoned member of our community, Thank you for being here. And there are a couple of things going on. One is that Kamatara Johnson is continuing on with her class. So that class will be offered, and go to our website and you can see that class is the specifics about the class. Also join us on Zoom and she'll tell you a little bit more about that. Also this week, we are continuing our work on the sanctuary. If it's work that you think you might want to do, please call us at the center. And please call us at the center, and you can find that number on our website too. I'm so grateful for you. And so if you would like to join our Zoom session, we're going to go into the social hall directly after this. And if you'd like to go into our Zoom session, please email Annette at Rio Grande Center. Actually, it's Rio Grande CSL, Rio Grande Cat Sam Lucky CSL at gmail.com, RioGrandeCSL.com. And in the meantime, let us remember this ancient spiritual practice together. So if you would just put your arms around yourself and give yourself a big hug and say with me, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being with me today. And I'll see you in a few minutes in the Zoom social hall. See you in a bit. Thanks. Goodbye.